Good morning, dear conference chairman, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Senji Pei from China. Today, I'm very happy to be a conference keynote speaker to present my keynote speech here. Due to limited travel, I could not come to Bangkok to be the conference site. Today, I'm going to give a video presentation for my keynote speech. I'm going to talk about vital role for ethnobiology in new era of biodiversity conservation in China. The speech will include the following three parts. Part 1, an introduction about biodiversity in China. Biodiversity is defined as variability among organisms from our sources, and it includes diversity of three levels of gene, species, and ecosystems by the definition of CDB. China is endowed with 11% of the plant species and 14% of all animals in the earth. According to the updated data, the total biospecies of China accounts for 2,280 species, including animal 54,359, plant species 37,793, fungi species 12,506 species. The main type of the terrestrial ecosystem, including forest, shrub, meadow, steppe, desert, wetland, marine, and farming systems. Biodiversity is the foundation for survival of the development of human beings. China, with its ancient civilization and a history of several millennia, has developed a wide variety of crops and domestic animal, plants, breedings, including soybean, tea, rice, and others. At least 136 cultivated plants originate from China, making up 20% of the world's total cultivated plants around the world and their economic importance, which are important components of global bank of gene banks in the world. China has a variety of useful and economic plants, totaling accounts about 20,000, of which 11,000 of medicinal plants used in traditional Chinese medicine. China also provides great opportunity for garden plant development in the world. 31,000 flowering plants are now grown in the gardens of the world, so that Professor Wilson said, China is the mother of the garden. Chinese biodiversity make significant contribution to the world economy. Part 2, progress and achievement of biodiversity conservation in China. Over the last half century, China has experienced great social, political, and economic changes that brought about tremendous impact on the environment and biodiversity of China. Also, China boasts abundant biodiversity. This biodiversity is being seriously depleted. About 6,640 fungi and flora species listed in CITES, 4,400 species of plants, and 5,000 more animal species are in the China species red list. Wild plant endangered ratio is 15 to 20%, of which gymnosperma and orchids are as high as 40%. 233 vertebrates are facing endangered. About 44 of the wild species population decreased. To face the challenge of biodiversity-threatened situation, China has made great efforts to protect its biodiversity. In the last 2 decades, in 1994, government of China launched the Biodiversity Conservation Action Plan, and in September of 2010, launched the National Biodiversity Conservation Strategy and Action Plan, as well as many other policies and national actions adopted to combat of habitat destruction, overexploitation, and declining of biodiversity, environment pollution, and ecosystem degradations. Since the year 2000, biodiversity conservation has been upgraded to a national strategy and incorporated into top-level design with law and regulations. Adopted a number of conservation strategies, improved management and coordination mechanisms and capacity building, and conduct scientific investigation, research, and monitoring of biodiversity. Major progress and achievements in this regard are highlighted as following 6 parts. Part 1. National Protected Area System established for in-situ conservation of biodiversity. By the end 2020, China has established 12,000 national parks, natural reserves, occupying the country's land area 18% and covering 90% of the China ecosystem types, 89% of the wild plants and animal species. Mainly priority species of plants and wildlife populations are increased, such as the giant panda, golden monkey, alligator silensis, and tree fern species, taxus, Davidia, parasuria, medicinal orchids, etc. Part 2. A countrywide ex-situ conservation network is being formulated. Before 1983, China established only 22 botanical gardens, including Nanjing Botanical Garden, established in 1929. And up to 2008, China has established 240 zoo display area and 234 botanical gardens and arboretums, 2 national long-term crop germplasm bank, 25 middle-term banks, and other germplasm gene banks, and 14 national germplasm nurseries, as well as livestock, poultry, gene banks, etc., totaling protected 105,724 accessions. In this collection, 39 crop wild relatives originated protected area also established. A countrywide ex-situ biodiversity conservation network is being formulated in China. Part 3. Scientific research activities in supporting biodiversity conservation and monitoring. Chinese Academy of Sciences has played a leading role in field survey of biodiversity, compilation of flora of China and fauna of China, assessment and compilation of China red list from time to time, established monitoring network consisting of 90 monitoring stations in China for monitoring of biodiversity. And biodiversity-related database development and monitoring. It has established a specimen collection system with 25 preservation units containing 16.3 million specimens, accesses, and a comprehensive biodiversity information system, established as well as GEM-Plus Bank of Wild Plants and Animals at KIB, China, as my home institute in Kunming. Part 4. Forest cover and afforestation area significantly increased. Up to the year 2020, forest cover of China has been increased to 23.04%, occupying about 230 million hectares of the land area of China, and the afforestation land area has completed 6.7 million hectares. Desert vegetation reconstruction, 2 million hectares. 50% of China's wetland area are now under protection. In urban area, forest city number reached to 441 cities. Urban Greenland area reached to 14.8 square meter per person. Forest cover rapidly increased in China in recent years has made an important contribution to biodiversity conservation and global climate change. Part 5 of the progress. As development of wild plant cultivation technology and applied in production to reduce pressure on biodiversity. China uses thousands of wild plants and fungi species for food, healthcare, and industry supplies that increased year by year. With advances of science and technology, in particular, technologies of domestication, cultivation, wild plants, and fungi, including use of biotechnologies in selection, breeding, propagation, cultivation, and processing, etc. The number of cultivated plant biospecies and products are rapidly increased. For instance, the harvesting of medicinal orchids from wild habitat to become cultivation land in the last 20 years has been changed remarkably. The common used orchid species in traditional Chinese medicine, including Dendrobium officinale, Gastrodia elata, Blatia striata, etc., are now completely supplied from cultivation land rather than harvesting from wild. An estimated commercial value is over several billion US dollars per year. According to updated data, annual production of Dendrobium officinale is 15,000 tons. Gastrodia tuber is 105,704 tons. And Blatia stricta roots production is about 7,000 tons per year. A recent cultivation medicinal orchids, Loctochinus formosala, has been rapidly developed in South China and with very high value in health care. Cultivation of wild food plants, such as wild vegetables, health food, and other herbal plants and fungi are now under development, are rapidly developed in China too. Part 6. Development and implementation of legal system for biodiversity. Since 1994, biodiversity legal system has been established and implemented. For example, policies on control of illegal trading and smuggling of wildlife and wild plants listed in CITES. In 2006, government launched a policy on equal compensation regulations to establish an equal compensation system covering forest, grassland, wetland, desert, and oceans, which policy have guaranteed priority natural habitat area for biodiversity and eco-service function areas under strict protection by law and right lines. More recently, China implementation of CDB and the Nagoya Protocol on access to genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity has made progress on related law and at provincial level and prefecture level and conducting demonstration areas, case studies in several communities in different areas with encouraged progress has been made. So the third part of my presentation is ethnobiology and its vital role in new era of biodiversity conservation in China. Ethnobiology is defined as the scientific study of dynamic relationships among people, biota, and environment. It is a multidisciplinary and across-cultural field of science, which allowing scientists to focus on complex interactions and dynamic integrations among human and natural systems, enhancing its intellectual merits and broad impact. Biodiversity is the product of the interaction of Earth's life and the environment, which is a natural process of biodiversity change over billion years. However, since human beings entered into Anthropocene era and the industrial societies, the changes of natural process accelerated by human activities, mainly caused by habitat change and our exploration of natural resources leading to loss of biodiversity. Today, the biodiversity extinction speed is even accelerated than any time in human history. Earth's biodiversity faces crises that threaten to all mankind. The fundamental research of ethnobiology is the study of human interactions with plants, animals, fungi, ecosystem, with focus on traditional botanical, ecological, and medical knowledge of people in different cultures for sustainable development. Ethnobiology reflects this science of nature people-based subject and closely linked practices of biodiversity resource management. Therefore, it has a vital role for biodiversity conservation in China and the world. Since the 1980s, ethnobiology has been introduced and developed in China as an interdisciplinary research field covering research subjects, ethnobotany, ethnomedicine, and ethnoecology, etc. Research activities including documentation, evaluation, and application of traditional knowledge into utilization and management of biological resources for sustainable development and healthcare. Current global concerns, including food security, climate change, biodiversity conservation, and human health. Ethnobiology study can provide insights into ways that societies interact locally with their environment resources and also be able to help societies to bring together and integrate local knowledge and scientific knowledge to advance the cause of achieving biocultural conservation, which is particularly significant for the biocultural diversity-rich countries like China. In October 11 to 24th of this year, China is going to schedule the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties of the Convention on Biological Diversity, that's COP15. In Kunming, Southwest China, Yunnan Province, where the participants' nations are expected to address challenges in biodiversity conservation, and COP15 with the theme Ecological Civilization, Building a Sharing Future for All Life on Earth. We are faced today with a worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. The outbreak of this disease is connected to both ecological and human systems, demonstrating the importance of paying attention to the connections, the two, in dealing with the issues of human survival. Similarly, human faces other crises at present that related to both ecological and human societies, including additional diseases, food, water, climate change, and others. At the same time, there are benefits derived from the ways that biodiversity regulated ecosystem. Humans must now quickly develop the science of survival. With this consideration, we believe that the ethnobiology as a science can play a vital role and make a contribution in new era of biodiversity conservation in China and the world in area of number one, documentation of traditional knowledge in use of biodiverse species and ecosystem and its management practices. Number two, application of ethnobiological knowledge and traditional techniques incorporated with contemporary technologies into rural community revitalization and biocultural conservation activities in order to improve rural livelihood and eco-safety. Number three, supporting to implementation of CDB and Nagoya Protocol on access to genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity to promote biodiversity conservation, mainstreaming, and business sector participation in biodiversity conservation. It is believed that with the new era of the eco-civilization reconstruction for building a sharing future for our life on Earth, with our efforts to integrate conservation and development together to meet the challenges we face, a better future is expected to achieve more in the new era of globalization and global climate change accelerated. Finally, I wish the Biotech 2021 in Bangkok will be good and great successful. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.